Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Mind What Matters, the podcast where we talk about what's on our minds and we look at data security with the lens of maybe having just a little bit of fun with it. My name is Samuel Hill. I lead product marketing here at Mind, and I am thrilled today that I get to be joined again by my co-host, the counterpart. There are more words I could use to describe him, but I'll save those for private company. Landon Brown, the field CTO here at Mind. How are you, bud?
I'm doing fantastic, Sam. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We have a lot to talk about today, a lot happening in the cybersecurity world. One of the major events of the cybersecurity calendar is coming up here very soon. Next week, in fact, which is RSA conference. And to help us talk about this conference and all of the fun that is going to be had or avoided, I don't know, your personality might dictate how you treat the next week. Is you might want to have all the fun or avoid all the fun, but up to you. But I wanted to bring in Jimmy Sang. He's the Chief Marketing Officer here at Mind. And Jimmy, I know you have been neck deep in planning RSA, so I'm excited for your perspective on this. But first, let's talk about what's on your mind. So Landon, starting with you, what's on your mind this week?
Well, I think what's on my mind this week is kind of watching geopolitics across the world really impact the cyber domain across the stack. We have data loss events happening across the industry. We have endpoint security events happening across the industry, network events, cloud events. It seems like every single time geopolitics start to cause a rise in events, we see the same rise in kind of the cyber ecosystem, which just highlights how intertwined all of that really, really is across the globe and why we should all really be on our toes and be giving a lot of thought to how we're protecting our organization. So top of mind for me, especially as we go into RSA, is kind of being able to share the value of what we do as a company and hopefully, make good marks and make the world a safer place at the end of the day.
Yeah, I completely agree. War is, I don't think any of us wish for war at any point in time, and it is not great. And it also now has the digital cyber component to it that we should certainly account for as well. Hopefully some good answers coming out at RSA next week. We can go get together and figure some paths forward. But Jimmy, what about for you, my friend? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I have two things leading up to RSA. One is, our, Israeli, colleagues, that are in the war zone. So, unfortunately, some of them can make it to RSA next week. So that's really unfortunate. But again, we're looking out for their safety. And second is just the details of next week. We have some massive things, some exciting things planned for RSA next week, and getting those details down, making sure our customers, our prospects have a great experience. I mean, that's what I care about and what's on my mind.
Oh, I know probably the list of things that still have to either be checked off or I's dotted, T's crossed, all of those little things. I'm sure that list is very long for you, Jimmy. But I'm also excited to see the output of that. Guys, for me, what's on my mind today is there's a Trader Joe's in San Francisco near the Moscone Center. I don't know if you know this or not. Where I live is there are no Trader Joe's near where I live. So every time I'm in a city that has a Trader Joe's, my wife sends me with a list of items that I need to acquire at the Trader Joe's, little snacks. So, have you guys had the speculoos cookie butter from Trader Joe's? It is
I have.
life changing. Oh, Jimmy, I recommend. It is a wonderful treat. One serving, keep yourself to one serving if you can, but it is delicious. So looking forward to acquiring the list of items from Trader Joe's that my wife has asked for while we're down in San Francisco at RSA. Hoping to
Yeah.
have a little bit of fun.
Again, we've been lucky in my area. We just had like two or three Trader Joe's open up, even though there were already two or three around. So
I'll
it's
say
it's a flood of Trader Joe's for us.
Yeah, Sam, you experience this as well. I have 5 kids, and so every time my wife goes to Trader Joe's and there's some viral thing to buy there, we have to buy extra because of our 5 kids, and that's the justification, the wife math my wife does to bring home 5 jars of cookie butter instead of just one every time
You
we
know
go
what?
and visit. And Trader Joe's is just down the road from us, but it seems like it's the same level of urgency every time, Sam.
You guys are lucky, man. That's an abundance of Trader Joe's. I'm just gonna start sending you guys the list, and you can ship it to my house
Yeah, there
as
you go.
well.
We know what Christmas gifts should be now, so it's
Yeah,
good.
There we
sure.
go. Do your Trader Joe's have like the little stuffed animal somewhere in the store that your kids can find?
No.
Have you ever
Is it
been?
like
No,
the
I
Elf
don't.
Edition, that type of thing?
Yeah, or
Yes.
they have like a specific animal or whatever it is. It might be regional or something significant for that town. It's somewhere in the store. If your kids find it, they get a lollipop. At least whenever we've been into one.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
So
did that a decade ago when my kids were younger, but these days they don't join us.
landed
Trader
pro
Joe's
tip.
is about to run out of lollipops when we go now, so
Well, pro tip of fatherhood is if you find it first and then hide it yourself and like don't let them know where it is, your kids will search for hours
hey,
all around that store. Just
yeah, I like it.
all right, guys, let's dive into some of the stories that are shaping the cybersecurity world right now as we mind the headlines. The first one I want to bring up today is around this company Stryker. Stryker, a very large company. They make medical devices and all sorts of medical equipment, from beds to assisted devices, just all sorts of stuff. Like 150,000 employees all over the globe. And basically, their entire company came to a hard stop after a cyber attack that locked everybody out of all their endpoint devices. Landon, I know you've been kind of tracking this and just keeping your eye on it from afar. Tell us a little bit about what's happening here and what can we learn from it?
Yeah, you'd think that there's some novel thing that for us to take away from that's new in every single one of these cyber breaches, but the reality is this breach was kind of conducted just like the rest of them, and the fact that the Iranian-backed hackers that conducted this operation took advantage of compromising just an open administrator account that then they pivoted and created their own administrative account that locked and then deleted 80,000 machines across the enterprise. And so we're talking about almost irreparable damage. And so it highlights one, some of the same concepts and foundations that we always talk about, which is, MFA, ensuring that we don't have, phishing scams going on in the organization, or at least have good protections and education around it. But also that sometimes attackers' motives aren't just to steal data, it's to actually make tangible, permanent, and sometimes physical kinetic impact on organizations around the globe. And, this one incident, I think for us to keep in mind as we think of how do we stay on our toes? How do we not let things like complacency make a negative impact on our organization? Is I see these situations almost like warning mechanisms. Is I think there's a lot more that's susceptible to attack just due to various vulnerabilities that exist and complacency that does exist. And this one incident highlights it could probably happen a lot, a lot of places elsewhere as well. So it just raises the bar for I think us and our organization and our friends and our colleagues, both in the government and outside of the government, to really kind of probably step up our game, start paying more attention, especially as conflicts like this arise as well.
Well, and I know, Jimmy, from your perspective, looking at it as like this is something that impacts the physical work of a company. So everybody from, people on the assembly lines building devices to marketing teams, finance teams, back office teams, they can't do their jobs now because of, like as Landon said, the kinetic impact.
Right.
What do you think this kind of says about the state of our industry that attackers are also willing to just shut your company down?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially from a nation state standpoint, whether it's, closing off waterways, right, to stop the flow of oil to, really striking at, businesses around the world so that they can stop the commercial, transactions that actually happen. I think that is the playbook that's been around for over a decade. We've seen it with like Merck in the past, and just the many different ransomware attacks that we see, and even in this case, it's not even ransomware. It's literally just looking to prevent commercial transactions from happening. Again, a similar playbook that Landon mentioned, but now nation states are participating in it like Iran because of the war. So it's not just a physical war; it's a digital war that's happening and a cyber war. So again, not new, but obviously we're going to see a step up, a peak in some of these attacks coming soon.
But I think you're right, Landon, right? It's not a new, TTP here. They got access to something, they escalated privileges, and then all of a sudden they had, read write over the operating system for hundreds and thousands of devices and endpoints. So like, cool. That's like the typical path, right? Like that's the playbook there. They just are now able to do it at a speed, perhaps, or at a scale, perhaps, and also with different intentionality than maybe we've thought of. We always usually think about it as it's a financial transaction. They're funding something, but now it's just we want to cause mayhem and something to realize, something to continue keeping in front of our minds. I think as
Yeah.
as defenders.
And I think it's getting easier and easier, right? One of the reports that we just saw come out from CISA is that they were tracking Chinese usage of Anthropic agents in mass and at scale in September of 2025. And we're just now hearing about some of this, probably a lot of classified information. And we can assume, and we have assumed probably healthily, that this has been going on by every nation state since the instantiation of agents and free will agents, right? And so I think it's going to get worse. It's going to get harder to defend. And I think just like we had a webinar just not long ago with David from Plaid, is who comes out on top, the defender or the attacker? I think the jury's still out on that.
Yeah. Well, I think his comments were good, but hopefully us defenders will have more and better tools that'll get online. It might take a second, but hopefully they get there and they're able to bring force to bear. But obviously, this is, as Jimmy, you mentioned earlier, kind of what's on your mind. This has impacted not only, obviously, lots and lots of people all over the globe, but just the cybersecurity industry in general. So many of some amazing cybersecurity companies have staff or founders or technical people based in Tel Aviv, Israel, who normally would all be coming out to RSA. And I know I'm going to miss seeing friends and colleagues from that part of our ecosystem. But let's talk about RSA for a little bit as we get into what matters. So, Jimmy, let's talk about RSA, right? It is one of the crown jewel conferences of the cybersecurity calendar. Is it bigger than Black Hat? I don't know. You might have your preference, but at the same time, Jimmy, as a marketing leader for a cybersecurity company, we're making a big investment to be there at Black Hat. Tell me a little bit about how you're thinking about it and what you're excited for.
Yeah, you can think of RSA as well as obviously Black Hat as almost like the Super Bowls, right, of cybersecurity. So we expect a lot of whether customers, channel partners, analysts, media to actually cover what's the trends in the industry. Doing their research and really understanding what's going on and seeing the latest greatest innovations that are happening. So we want to make sure we put our best foot forward as Mind and, show them, where, we are as a company. We were part of the Sandbox competition last year as a top 10 finalist. And this is our actually first expo booth at RSA. So super excited to really continue that momentum that we started last year. And the theme this year for us is around really, a business class upgrade around the, journey towards stress-free DLP for our customers. And we're going to have a very exciting booth. Actually, we don't need to keep it a surprise, but since we're talking about business class upgrade, really our booth theme is around an airplane, right? A business class experience on airplanes. So we invite everyone to come to our booth to check it out. It's in the South Expo at booth 1835. And you won't miss us. Look for the big yellow overhead sign that says Mind, and check us out because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, I'll ask this question for Landon because he's not, you wouldn't ask this about for himself. But Jimmy, does that mean you're going to be upgrading his flight to business class on the way to San Francisco?
We'll ask his manager about that.
Sweet, yeah. We'll see if it's in the budget. Unfortunately, Landon, probably not. But let's talk about this. So, Landon, as a technology executive, there seems to be this tension sometimes of you have the CISOs that are they're not wandering around the show floor because like, oh, I just too much. And then we have the marketers that are like, we really just want a great experience for people to be able to find us and understand that what we do. Talk me through that tension. What are CISOs? How are they approaching this week in San Francisco?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we're at an inflection point where, to pre-answer, the prerequisite to my answer, Samuel, is the AI space is like rapidly changing, right? And we're revisiting some common territory, in my opinion, as well, where the first portion of AI was all about how we integrate AI into our tools. I mean, if you look back to 22, 23, everyone was including a analyst in their tools or a summary agent in their tools for alerts and these kinds of areas. And then we kind of, I think the industry was kind of like, well, that's boring. How do we actually make use of agents and like build tools that are agents? Like we saw 7AI start getting funding. We saw some different tools start to really enter this space. And now it seems like we're going back to, okay, well, that was fun while it lasted. Let's go back to using AI agents back in our tools, right? And so I think that we've done a lot of whiplash in terms of what the focus of AI is in technology. And I think CISOs are feeling that too. I think part of the tension is CISOs are feeling that tension of, hey, I know for a fact this week everyone is just going to talk to me about AI, and it's going to be the same AI that everyone else is using. And the reality is we're all using the same agents to, do some of the same things with different instructions to those agents. And I think the real innovation that CISOs are looking for is how the outcome of those agents. And I think whatever vendors are really going to put on a show around what the outcome is for CISOs is probably going to make the best use of time for CISOs. And I think that's where the CISOs are probably going to stay on the conference floor itself.
And so, Jimmy, as you think about how you've led our team to build this exceptional experience at RSA, it's no small investment. So, what are the things that you're hoping for to accomplish with this space on the floor, and what would you want security leaders to walk away with after they find the Mind booth?
Really, the biggest accomplishment that we would want for the booth is, really experiencing Mind, right, for the first time. So we have a number of demo stations available in there. We actually have some incentives for CISOs and cyber leaders to actually come and take a look. We're giving away three $500, upgrades on their next flights. So if, again, on the next flight, they can upgrade their seat to business class. But, ideally is come experience, what Mind is. I think when we have customers and prospects, see Mind for the first time, actually, experiment with it with, proof of value, then they see, the outcomes that Len has mentioned, and it becomes very obvious that the value it provides is immeasurable to many extent. So if you talk to some of our customers, they talk about really the magic of Mind, and when they attach it from the first time to their systems, they see the value right away. And it becomes really a cornerstone to their data security programs, and that's when we get really excited because we understand how much effort we put into the platform, and we just need people to experience it. And hopefully they'll come to the booth to check it out.
Yeah, I've always thought about that within like the RSA conference specifically because it's a very big show floor. There's a ton of probably very interesting companies and solutions to go talk to. And so, as a security leader, how do you separate out the signal from the noise of this? One year at RSA, somebody literally had like a fishing line with a dollar bill on the end of it. They were like
Yeah.
holding it into the aisle, and I was like, that's too much. That's too far. So no, we will not be doing that at mine. There will be no fishing lines. There will be no dollar bills handed to people in the aisle. But if you'd like to come fishing, come see Landon or I in the mountains. We'd be happy to take you.
There you go. Samuel,
At the end,
I was going to say, I always find it funny the lessons the industry has to keep relearning every conference.
yeah,
Every year, it's like we never relearn that the dollar bill on the end of the fishing line is probably a little unacceptable. We never learn that putting actual humans with lampshades on their heads
yeah.
might be unacceptable. Every year, there's some sort of cybersecurity conference scandal that we get to talk about for years to come. And it's a great feature to be a part of.
It keeps podcasts like ours going. Go ahead, Jimmy.
It makes it fun, but you're right. I think, in terms of innovation and risk, some of those vendors really towed the line on that. Hopefully, I think we want to be innovative, but really want to make sure the experience is really business class, first class for us.
And so then, what maybe some stories, guys? Some things that you've seen either at the RSA show floor or on a show floor that just really sticks out in your mind as, gosh, I hope my company never does that.
Right out of the gate, and I'm sorry to probably a lot of our fellow tech colleagues, both geographically and just in the space as fellow friendly competitors, is the mascots. I have not yet to find a single tech professional that enjoys or thinks the mascot concept is cool. Yet every year we see a larger and larger and larger mascot at these events, and it seems like one of those trends that'll never die, even though nobody likes it, which is just a fascinating paradigm at these cybersecurity conferences.
Yeah, for me, it's about noise. You know, it's a noisy conference already, but when I think vendors try to one up each other with megaphones and microphones
Yeah.
and speakers and bigger speakers, it really it's almost at the point where you need to put some earplugs on in order to walk around and enjoy the show. So if we can tamp down the crazy noise that's happening, that would be lovely.
It's funny, Jimmy. That's one of the pieces of swag that we should have had is like really nice earmuffs for business class, first class to drown out the noise. That would
Well,
have been great.
you'd be surprised what we have coming up in the
Yeah,
booth.
Oh, all right, all right.
So we have something. We have a solution. We have an easy button for that one.
Oh,
we
amazing.
do. And nothing says "do not talk" to me on an airplane like earplugs.
That's right.
So it's a good plan. Yeah, I think that I think you had a booth one time and there was like Master Chief dressed up. Somebody dressed up like it wasn't actual Master Chief from Halo, but it was like dressed up like Master Chief from Halo, and like people were still taking pictures with it. But I was like, what a gimmick!
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because every single year I feel like the cybersecurity conferences are leaning more and more to events that I would take my kids to because they would have a blast, right? And that
Yeah,
that could be a good thing and kind of a distraction at the same time. Noise, as Jimmy would say.
Yeah, well, I think we see candy shops, we see record stores, we see just things that harken back to our teenage selves, I guess, or kid selves, and I think to some extent that does resonate, and it's pretty engaging, but as you said, it can be depends on how it's executed.
have you seen like the little puppy, like the hang out with a puppy little areas at a conference before?
Sold.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Sold. I'll buy
I'm not
double.
really I'm not really a dog person, but like I would still absolutely go sit in there and just play with these puppies. And they're all up for adoption too. So it's like supporting the local adoption rescue, which is just great.
Yeah,
Listen,
I may be wrong though, but I believe RSA banned animals, live animals, this year. So we'll see whether that actually happens. But I do love the puppies.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah.
still salty. Set up a massive partnership with Wiz. I was very ingrained with the founding team and a lot of the executives there, and I still have not had any Wiz cereal to this day. And I go to every single booth, and obviously Wiz is such a massive company now, or
Yeah.
you could say Wiz Google,
Yeah.
that I don't know anybody at the booth, so I can't bum off a box of cereal yet. So I don't know how good it is, but it is one of those things that I reliably look for every conference, right, is the Wiz cereal, right? I think there's also, Jimmy, I'd like to hear your thoughts, Jimmy, a little bit on this, is like, there's always something that's unique to Wiz that you can rely on them having every time, right? For us, I think we're really leaning to this first class, business class experience potentially. But for Wiz, it's that cereal. Like I know for a fact, every time I go to the Wiz booth, there's going to be a wall of cereal, and I am trying to bum one off every conference I go to unsuccessfully.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so what is that, Jimmy? Do you think that that's like an important element of the story for a brand, or?
Yeah, I mean, when you think of sort of brand resonance, right? Whether it's Lucky Charms or, like Captain Crunch, you sort of want to, you have expectations for the brand. And it sounds like you have expectations for Wiz cereal, which I actually never seen. I seen the cereal like boxes on the walls, but I didn't realize it was actually a physical thing you can actually try. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the idea is that, that brand is imprinted on your mind and you want it, and you expect it every time, and that's a perfect way for any vendor to actually have a brand on top of your mind. So, and hopefully we'll build that with our customers, our prospects with mind in mind. So yeah, puns
Yeah.
and puns intended.
Well, it's really, I mean, it's really, so okay, let me ask you guys this question. What do you think the most overused phrase is going to be on printed on a booth at the RSA show floor? Jimmy, start with you.
Probably like AI powered. I mean, I know that's your favorite phrase, Samuel, but
It
no.
is, yeah.
Uh, it's something that we actively avoid, but I think that's what we expect to see. It's just everyone has AI, whether it's thinly used or really in depth. But AI is what the expectation is.
Yeah,
What about you,
I
Landon?
think Jimmy has inside info, so it's not fair. This isn't a fair game. But I will say that I agree. I think I'm going to go lean more on AI native. I think from a technology perspective, the AI powered, the AI driven, those are like a little overused to me. And maybe it's just because I'm more on the technical side, right? But I'm starting to see more of an acceptance towards AI native, right? So it's either going to be AI native or slash AI security just in general as a tagline. AI security or AI native are kind of my two picks.
I think it's going to be stuff around AI SOC or like AI optimization, that kind of thing. I think that space is going to be so noisy, so crowded, and everybody's going to say something about it in their booth, probably, of how they're using AI to make the life of a SOC analyst better, faster,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
No one's talked about cost yet either,
No,
right? So
no,
we'll
no,
get
no,
there
no.
eventually.
No, we don't. That,
It's
no.
there's plenty of differences and there's cost optimization to be had, but I feel like we're also on the precipice of the Splunk conversation where everybody bought Splunk, dumped everything into it, and then went, holy shit, we have to pay a lot of money for this, and now we can't get rid of it because we built
Yeah,
everything on top of it, right? So,
everything's in there now. Yeah. That was the joke, right? When Cisco bought them, I think they paid $28 billion, and the joke was, yeah, we can't tell if they're trying to buy Splunk or just pay their renewal fee.
that's a good one.
So that well, yeah, well, you're absolutely right. We'll see how that all shakes out. Yeah, our analyst types got better, but our compute cost and our bill also went higher too. Okay, over under guys. I'm gonna play a little over under game with you. Number of steps that you will average next week while at RSA. I'm gonna put the over under at 29,501. Are you going to be over that number or under that number steps wise at RSA next week per day?
Say under.
You're going to go under.
Probably. I'd probably say 12 to 15,000 if I had to
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually will think under as well. It may peak. Like Tuesday, Wednesday are really busy days, and you want to walk the floor during those days. Monday, Thursday, maybe definitely under. Tuesday, Wednesday could be over actually in
Okay.
that way. I mean, I always aim for 10,000 steps. So if I'm at 30, I think 29 is pretty close to 30. I'm like, wow, man, I got to make sure I have my water, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah.
ready.
Stay hydrated. Yeah. Don't underestimate the amount of walking. It's a big space. Moscone is not small. And then getting in between all the different, if you're getting out to a meeting suite or grabbing
Oh,
coffee with somebody or getting back and forth between different places to media alley or all of those spots. We'll compare notes. We'll compare notes next week as we get
yeah,
down
we'll
there.
check it out. It'll be fun.
Okay, and then what would be an item if you saw it at a booth, an item on that in that booth that I've got to grab this swag item. I've got to grab this. What would that be for you?
I'm a notepad person. I'm pretty simple. My kids, whenever I come back from a conference, my kids hijack all of the notepads that I've gotten over the course of that conference, and it keeps them busy for 2 to 3 weeks, right? Having paper and a pen is really important to my kids. Uh, and so I would probably say like as many notepads as I can get. I'm just going to scoop them all into a bag and be really friendly to maybe grab an additional one too. So
Yeah.
Sort of similar, answer in the sense that, if it's something I can just grab from a booth, it's going to be low value relatively, right? So if it's low value, it's probably for my kids. So whether it's a small, cute, action figure or a stuffed animal, I think that would probably be what I would grab and what could fit in my luggage because I can't put big stuff in my luggage. So something probably low value, it'll be for my kids.
Yeah, I mean, I have my Trader Joe's stuff already in my bag for my luggage stuff, so I got to make sure I have whatever I take home for the kids. I think that's probably a really great point. Is a lot of things, honestly. What if we just say conferences where people have to bring their kids? And like that was the cybersecurity conference. Your kids are gonna have a great time. You're gonna learn
I don't
some
want to
stuff.
go. I don't want to
Okay,
go.
never mind. Never mind then. Never we won't do that. All right, guys. As we wrap up today, let's talk about what did you learn today?
Yeah, I mean, learned many things, but I learned how just the little details of RSA can be overwhelming, especially when you deal with like union labor in the Moscone Center. So you learn, especially since this is our first expo booth, learn to give time and patience in working with everything we need to do to install the booth, deploy it, and get it ready. So that's what I learned, and I think I've learned it in the past, but I sort of try to block it out of my mind. But now I've relearned it again.
Amanda, what about you?
Yeah, I did two things. I think one, how much effort goes into every single one of these events, and how important it is for the terms that Jimmy uses, like brand resonance and brand recognition, and all of these things that I think go above people's heads, and they don't really understand the psychology behind it. And so it's just, you're really grateful for the team that puts all that effort into it. I think the second thing is that I learned today is exactly where to go shopping for Samuel and his family for Christmas from now on, which is Trader Joe's.
It's a lot cheaper that way. I wish my kids thought the same. Unfortunately, they like things that are more expensive than Trader Joe's cookie butter. So, guys, what I've learned today is just how precious and valuable it is when cybersecurity professionals can get together in the same city. Yes, all of the stuff is said, right? All the after hours is really where the business happens. The show floor is a big noisy, but at the same time, we're getting a whole bunch of very smart, talented, driven, exceptional people in the room, and also how precious that is, seeing what's happening geopolitically and so many of those smart, talented, precious people unable to join us in San Francisco this year. So take advantage of it. Go meet new people, enjoy the time, or don't enjoy the time. It's up to you. It's a free country still, and you can do what you like. So, with all of that said, for Jimmy Sang and Landon Brown, my name is Samuel Hill, and that's all for now.